Okay, we're live now. I was waiting to see if like there would be a countdown, but yeah, countdown.
Dun, dun, dun.
Good evening slash morning slash afternoon, Scrappy Fan 92. Morning slash afternoon. Excuse me. This is story time with Scrappy and friends. With me today are Harry, Joey, Tanner, and Raideran.
Sup?
Gaming.
We are back to do just a quick sort of run through of chapter 13 of Ceasefire Days, the Team Fortress fic by Sarur. Every time. This is
Yeah, no, I'm just going with Solroar. Solroar.
Soren?
Soren. Sora. Sora!
Donald! Goofy!
This is part 3 of a 3-part arc, the final part of the Mercs find a woman in the wilderness arc, I guess.
Yeah.
Last time, some crazy beast tamer was brought into base to be nursed back to health, and well, she went primal on everyone.
I lost my freaking gun. Yeah, Scout
Right.
lost his gun.
Tragedy.
He lost his pistol, specifically.
Yeah, Scout lost his pistol, Sniper lost his piss, and Demo got very superstitious.
I'm sure he'll make more.
Whoa! She stole that guy's pee!
That sounds like something Scout would say.
I was doing Spider-Man 2.
You wish you were doing Spider-Man.
We will read a
Spider-Man
fic eventually, people.
Some people draw him pretty cheeked up. I might. We should do a TF2 Smasher Pass.
They'd be very short.
Anyway, this is chapter 13 of Ceasefire Days. Get into it so Joey can go to bed.
Yeah, but
Alright.
Engineer sniffed, trying to hold the small flashlight steady between his teeth. The wind had picked up outside of the base, and the mercenary felt the snow hitting the back of his coat. Moving to wipe some off his goggles with his sleeve, he tried to focus on the current predicament. The fuse box had been ripped open, and Engineer wondered how someone could have destroyed the padlock. Regardless, someone or something did, and wires had been haphazardly stripped out.
Any progress?
Soldier grunted from behind him, leaning over his shoulder. Engineer shook his head, waving Soldier to go return to guarding his back. After the two had confirmed respawn was still on and powered by the emergency generator, they had set out to fix the primary electricity source, starting with the fuse box outside the base. I don't know what he's saying. I
need to concentrate, maybe? Or maybe it's an engineering term that we don't know. But I think it's, I need to concentrate.
I think his wrench is in his mouth.
I know his flashlight's in his mouth. I'm just not sure what he's supposed to be saying.
I need to concentrate, I think.
I never concentrate. He said.
Alright, that's
so,
he said in a distinctly non-Southern accent.
Yeah, not even gonna bother.
Damn.
Engineer managed to get out while still.
Alright, you cut out a bit there.
Of course. I know that kind of the engineer managed to get out while still holding the flashlight.
No, while still holding the flashlight, it cuts out.
I'm sorry, did it cut out at the same place twice?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yes, it did. You've been cutting out a bit. I just felt it would be pedantic to point it out multiple times, but... God, I mean, just for the audience's sake.
I mean, it should be. I mean, if I am cutting out it.
And case in point. Way to go, Scrappy.
Awesome.
Oh, God.
Comedy.
Welcome back to Storytime with Scrappy, ladies and gents.
Engineer managed to get out while still holding the flashlight between his Scrappy to strangle his internet.
While still holding the flashlight steady between his teeth. You can just I'll say it for you. I'll relieve you the burden.
I'm sorry, did it cut out again?
It was
Yeah.
cutting out while you
between
said
some-
it. You came
Yeah.
in and out.
But I mean, the audience can infer that it's in between his teeth, in between his ass cheeks. He speaks out of his ass cheeks now.
Soldier
that
seemed
works.
to get the message and snapped back to scanning the surrounding forest. Shovel raised and ready. Engineer grimaced, using a plastic pick and his gloved hand to examine the extent of the damage. A few of the wires could be holy crap. A few of the wires could be swapped. Replacements in his lab, but the rest looked too specialized. It seems like partial power could be returned, the Texan thought, removing the flashlight with his gloved hand. He turned around to call over Soldier. I think I could just replace these three here, and that should get most of the system back up. These two, though, I'll try to move into these slots, but... Engineer paused, glancing at Soldier, who was picking his nose with his pinky finger. The Texan rolled his eyes under his goggles. I need to go to my lab, Engineer stated. Soldier nodded, and took a moment to flick whatever he dug out of his nose away. Goodness gracious.
It's definitely leaning more into the later Soldier characterization.
Onward.
Like this definitely that it's still not quite there, but it definitely feels more like teleporting bread Soldier.
I have done nothing but teleport bread for 3 days.
Dear
This
God.
This is a
Question.
bucket.
Can I keep the bucket?
Yeah. No, it's what? You did not read mine. Does it say you want the bucket? Yes. I like the flanderization is a little upsetting, but also I don't mind it too much because everything Soldier says in that short is funny. This is a bucket. Dear
Dear
God.
God.
There's more.
There's more.
No. No.
Marisu breathed heavily, crawling through Red's cold front base's narrow vents. Her gloved hands helped pull her out. No, her gloved hands helped pull her through the enclosed space without getting stuck, steadily allowing her to navigate the tight turns. Although she sported a few bruises from her fight with Scout and Demo, as well as a cut along the back of her head from the Scrumpy bottle, the blonde still felt spry enough to continue her plan. The wound to her head had stopped bleeding, and the pain had now eased to a dull ache, enough so it did not hinder her current goal. Vengeance would soon be hers. No human had dared set foot on her land since 2 summers ago, when she was but a girl. Then her wolves had mauled and eaten the trespassers. Unfortunately, they had been driven back this time, hobbling home injured and fresh with blood. Now, thought the woman, sniffing the air for any sign of human stink, she had to finish the job. She smirked, picking up the scent of blood, and lifted herself up to another level of vents. In only a few moments, her sensitive ears picked up talking, coming from her right. Speeding up, she attempted to stealthily make her way to the source, itching for more revenge.
I don't know who's speaking here.
I think it's Pyro and Medic.
You go.
So I guess no, I think it's Medic. Actually, I think it's Medic. Actually,
Pyro took off their mask.
it's Medic, Pyro, Medic. So Yugo is Medic, probably Medic.
You go. You
Mary
go.
Sue sidled up. I don't know. Sidled up to the metal grating at the end of the tunnel, eyes peeking between the slits. Do I sound clear?
You sound very clear. I was about to
You
comment
are
on that.
right in my ears.
Yeah, you're like super ultra HD Scrappy right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I am holding the microphone directly to my mouth because I just am tired of cutting out so often.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see.
it's working fairly well for you.
Yeah.
So I've become the anti-gamer. I'm actually doing effort.
Uh-huh. You go.
Marisu sidled up, yada yada. Below, she could see the nurse she had held at knife point earlier. The blonde, self-proclaimed Queen of Wolves frowned, moving closer to get a better look. She had been sure he was injured when she escaped, hit by his idiot friend's weapon. Sorry. I don't know if Pyro's masked or not.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if he was, it would have just been... It would have just been said, it would have just been written in muffles, because that's how they've been doing it for previous chapters.
Okay, so it's Kermit's Pyro who should be speaking then.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you.
That was how it was last chapter.
The Queen blinked, trying to make out the other person in the room.
I'm fine, Lebling.
It seemed to click in her head when she saw the individual reach for a familiar-looking mask on a metal table.
Okay.
Marisu nodded, recalling a red-suited masked man. For a second, as the person readied the mask to slip on, Marisu caught sight of a face. The woman snapped back in surprise, her shoulders hitting the top of the vent and causing a noise. She heard silence from the two below her, and moved to clutch her knife strapped to the small of her back? The small of her back. Trying to
Okay,
calm her
so-
racing heart.
The small of your back is basically, you know where your lower back is, where you've got that indentation.
Uh-huh.
That.
Alright.
Okay.
So slightly above the place where the Sonic characters keep the Chaos Emerald. Okay.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. Oh! It's like the little part, right before, like the little part before the end of the spine.
Yes.
Okay.
Alright, this has been Human Anatomy with Scrappy and Friends. Thank you, Joey. Trying to calm her racing heart. Those scars. What monstrosity was that? She shook her head and clutched the handle of her knife, pulling it from its sheath. Oh my gosh. Pulling it from its sheath against her back. A human, she assured herself. Man, woman, she could not tell. But a human, and that was enough.
I do like the idea of Pyro being so horribly scarred that no one can tell its gender.
Their gender.
There. I mean, it's can be a pronoun.
You don't use it for. I don't use it for living beings. I hate it when Pokemon does it, and I don't like it when people.
It does feel a bit like you're an alien commenting on like an inferior species. Yeah.
Okay, Starfleet.
But a human, and that was enough. Medic and Pyro stared up at the vent, tense. The former slowly reached for his bone saw, hanging neatly from a peg on the wall.
Yeah, yeah. I do not think we are alone.
One moment, I just had to rest my arm because I was holding my mic at a weird angle.
No, it's fine.
Hi, kids. If you do repetitive actions or hold a specific action for a long time, you may stiffness in your arm.
This is referred to as an RSI, or repetitive strain
You're cutting
injury.
out again, by the way.
We are so back.
Yeah.
So bad, guys.
As if on cue, they heard a high-pitched scream and the vent's grating cover popped off, nearly hitting Archimedes' cage. The dove let out a coo of disdain, started fussing his cage. Mary Sue jumped down from the opening of the vent, landing perfectly on her feet. She straightened up and held out her curved blade. Give up and make this easy, she demanded, looking a bit dusty from crawling in the vents, and sporting a patch of dried blood along the back of her head. Pyro shook his... oh my gosh. Pyro shook their head and took their place between Medic and the woman, hand reaching into their suit pocket to retrieve a lighter. The two faced off, with Medic standing back, bone saw drawn. He wanted to reach for his medigun, tracing it on Pyro, but also did not want to look away, in case the crazy woman pulled a fast one. And she did, suddenly throwing her foot out to knock over a table of surgical supplies. Using the noise as a distraction, she drew her knife, barely missing Pyro's face. Without taking a second, the woman followed up with a kick to the chest, sending Pyro into Medic. The two slammed into the infirmary cot. Pyro's lighter falling onto the linoleum floor. Marisu smirked, hand moving to the gun she had stolen earlier, when Pyro tossed the cot's pillow into her face. Okay, so is this Pyro or Marisu grunting?
Probably Pyro.
Pyro.
Oh! Motherfucker! Just as Marisu snatched the pillow away, a fist slammed into her face, followed by an audible cracking sound. Damn. The blonde clumsily stepped back, clutching her bleeding nose. You! Okay, I guess just speak like I have a broken nose. I don't know how to do that.
Pinch the top of your... Yeah, pinch your nose.
A lot of like nouns like K's, and at least this is how it is in comic books. A lot of K's come out like D's, like you broke my nose.
Yep, the meatbag. Do you know who I am?
Not
I'm
a
not doing
very,
another take of that.
not a very nice lady.
Medic chimed in, smirking from behind Pyro as the laugh track played. Medigun beam.
Sorry.
Medigun beam now focused on the gas-masked mercenary. I like how they spelled gas mask with an apostrophe. Marisu glowered at the pair, watching in disgust as Pyro cracked her knuckles, starting to make their way towards her. Marisu growled and leapt against a wall to her right, propelling off and aiming a kick at Pyro's throat. Pyro caught her leg, throwing her into Medic's desk. The blonde hit the table and fell over behind it, upsetting the mountain of paperwork. Behind the desk, Marisu wiped her arm across her bloody nose, other hand removing the pistol from her waistband. She had no idea what the mumbling freak was saying, nor did she quite understand what the nurse was doing with that unfamiliar device. Regardless, the woman smirked, blood staining her teeth. The loudmouth human she assaulted earlier had dropped his weapon, and the woman was sure it would be enough to incapacitate, great pronunciation, incapacitate the fool she currently faced off against. Pyro gave Medic a thumbs up, receiving a proud smile.
I think she is done.
The doctor noted, wondering if the woman had been knocked unconscious. Not so, scumbag. A handgun was raised from behind a desk, followed by Marisu. She held the pistol clumsily between her hands, and if the two mercenaries were correct, it looked to belong to Scout. Pyro just stared, tilting their head. Now back up, you human... My Canadian accent will just sound like a really bad Scottish accent. Now back up, you human rats. I give up. I didn't even start. I gave up before I started. The woman demanded, jumping up onto Medic's table, the gun still pointed at Pyro. The red mercs shared a look. I said move back or I'll shoot. Marisu snarled, finger settling on the trigger. I can't understand you freak.
How can we be rats and humans?
Medic elaborated with a quirk of the eyebrow.
That doesn't seem like a normal insult.
Marisu let out a howl, firing off 2 rounds into Pyro's chest. She smirked, watching the blood splatter onto the floor from the bullets. However, Pyro did not seem at all affected, glancing down at the bullet wounds as if they were mere paper cuts. Marisu's smirk slowly dropped as she watched the hole start to heal. What? What is this all about? She shot the pyromaniac again in the chest, and again, and again. Pyro ignored the bullets and tackled the woman, knocking her off the table and onto the floor, causing Scout's gun to go flying out of her hand. The two were caught in a grapple on the ground. Pyro, the heavier and taller of the two, and Pyro, the heavier and taller of the two, having an upper hand, feeling no pain as Mary Sue kicked and struggled below them, not with the medigun trained on them.
Oh, hold on!
Pyro felt the beam leave their back and glanced over to see where Medic had gone to. Mary Sue took this opening to shove a knee between Shove a knee between Pyro's thighs, eliciting a slight hiss of annoyance from the mercenary above her. She reeled back and slammed a fist across their face, knocking Pyro over and onto their back. Instead of moving to strangle the fallen enemy, Mary Sue hurried to her feet and ran for the door. She whipped past Medic, who was searching the infirmary closet, and jumped over the cot. With a swift kick, she slammed the door open and disappeared into the hall, leaving drops of blood behind her. Medic snapped around and saw Pyro stumbling to their feet.
Pyro, sorry. I was trying to find rope or something to hold her with.
Pyro shook their head, brushing off the doctor's concerns.
Yeah.
Pyro stated, allowing Medic to heal up the rest of their wounds with the medigun.
Yeah. You did well, my friend. Ah!
The two turned around to see Scout falling out of the open vent, coughing.
Holy shit! I almost died in there!
Wait. Pyro updated, heading over to help Scout.
Corrected your incomprehensible mumbling.
I will never phone it in unless I feel like phoning.
Like you do with the Canadian accent?
That would imply I even tried.
Alright, here we go. Here we go. Scout. He's in pain. He's...
Also, Canadian accent's a nightmare.
To imitate for me, yes. Listening to, no, they are pleasant as hell. Pyro up. I'm sorry, is that doubt I'm hearing?
No, it's me drinking and agreeing.
Okay. Pyro updated, heading over to help Scout off the floor. The young man nodded, stretching his back with a wince.
Yeah, I know. Crazy soup wolf bitch knocked me and Demo around and took it.
The American elaborated, earning an eyebrow raise from Medic.
Is it both of you?
Scout coughed, pretending to clear his throat.
Well, she used some black magic crap. Ask Demo. It's for real. I mean, otherwise we could have taken her. Easy.
Before Medic or Pyro could begin to question Scout on exactly what he meant by black magic, or why he had come falling out of the infirmary's vent, the emergency lights shut off. Then slowly, the normal white lights started to turn back on, returning the infirmary to a sense of normalcy, and revealing the extent of the damage done to it.
My God!
Medic fussed, taking in his surroundings.
To this all? That ain't the real problem here, Doc. Crazy soup wolf bitch is out there, and I'm gonna beat the crap out of her.
Scout boasted, sighting his pistol next to Medic's desk on the ground. He picked it up and checked the clip, only to realize there was a single bullet left.
She used it! She used to shoot my pistol with her grimy soup hands!
I don't know. Pyro patted Scout on the back, holding out Mary Sue's knife that she had left in the infirmary. Scout's eye, only one eye widened. Okay. Scout's eyes widened as he snatched the knife away, holding it up. His lips started to curve. His lips started to curve upwards.
She's gonna get it now. But see how she likes me using her things.
Mary Sue slid into a crevice in the hall, trying to regain her breath. Her nose had stopped bleeding, but she could tell it was broken. She felt along her sides, wincing at the bruising from Pyro's tackle. She withheld a howl, sliding down the wall. Holy hell! Sliding down the wall to sit.
Here we go.
Her head settled back against the wall as she tried to plan her next move. The crevice was shadowed and narrow, and although it smelled of smoke, it seemed like a safe place to regroup her thoughts. She still had 2 hostages, and maybe that was enough to feed her wolves. She would probably need to come back later for the rest. Seemingly arranging the perfect escape, the blonde stuck her head out into the hall, only to realize the red light was gone and had returned to the normal fluorescent white. Eyes wide, Mary Sue slowly shifted back to hide in the crevice. Those human scumbags had gotten their technology back in order. How could they? Mary Sue clenched her fists and brought her head to her knees. I am Queen of the Wolves, she assured herself, digging her nails into the floor where she sat. She was going to grab the one-eyed nuisance and the annoying loudmouth, them out, and then get out. In the forest she could escape, howling for her wolves to retrieve the living meal she caught for them. Yes, she nodded against her knees. It would all be okay. No human could ever completely ruin her plans. With a sniff, the blonde stood up and wiped the excess blood off her face with her furry sleeve. The smoke smell was starting to irritate her, and sitting around was only wasting time now. Once again, she chanced to peek out into the hall and confirmed it to be empty before heading out. After a few steps, the woman paused, nose twitching. The smoke smell was strong, stronger than she had expected it to be, now wafting from behind her. Mary Sue's eyes narrowed, ears twitching. She could hear. She could swear she heard footsteps, almost like a knife slammed into her back, just a few inches from her spine, earning a scream. Mary Sue fell to the floor, one hand shakily reaching behind her, feeling the handle of a knife protruding from her back. Shoes came into view, black and shiny, the smell of smoke above her. Clumsily, Mary Sue felt for the knife, hand trying to get a firm grip as her arm twisted behind her.
Who was spy again?
I thought that was you.
Alright, here we go. Sorry, mon chéri. I would have killed you, but I'm not in the mood to be scolded today.
Yes, it's you because Pedriva is not present at the moment.
Yes, okay. Let's see. Wait, hold on. Let me get into. Let me get some water.
Hon, big Iscariot.
Gentlemen. Sorry,
With those-
mon chéri. I would have killed you, but I'm not in the mood to be scolded today.
I mean, your first take was fine, Harry. I was just reminding myself that you were, in fact, in Pedriva's absence.
My apologies.
With those last words, one of the shoes slammed across the back of her head, and Mary Sue felt herself falling unconscious. Engineer frowned, watching his teammates argue. After fixing up the fuse box as best he could, he returned with Soldier to find Sniper waiting in the entrance of the base, waving them inside. He informed the two that Spy had caught the intruder, and now she was restrained in the recreation room. Both Americans had been relieved, though Soldier's laughter as he slapped the end of his shovel into his other palm indicated that he was also excited. It wasn't every day they got a civilian, and protocol usually called for detainment and shipment to Red Headquarters for further processing. Or if said intruder became a problem, elimination on the spot by the mercenary team. Something Soldier seemed to always gripe that he never got the chance to do. So, the 8 men and Pyro found themselves in the rec room, surrounded by pool tables and couches. In the center of the room, a chair had been placed with the crazy soup wolf lady tied to it. Sniper had assured the group that with his skillful nodding, there was no chance she would escape, proud to finally show off what he considered his hidden talent. From what Engineer could see, the strange lady had been knocked out, a mess of blood on one side of the head. Her face was also a bit bruised, including a broken nose and busted lip.
Medic had informed him she also had a stab wound in the back. No doubt spies doing, which Medic had patched up well enough so that she wouldn't bleed out before a proper interrogation.
We should send Lady to Red.
Heavy put in.
We should
Okay.
send Lady to Red.
Heavy put in. That's a interesting. That's just a. Wouldn't it be input? I don't know. Put in, I guess, works.
Yeah.
Heavy put in, crossing his large arms as he stood near the door like a bouncer.
She is not a threat now.
She's a bloody witch.
Snapped back Demo, pointing a finger at the unconscious woman.
And she's giving me a bad feeling. We need to exercise her.
Sniper spoke.
What? What the fuck you mean exercise? You know, bash. One, two. You know. Oh god, they're so annoying because they're both technically English.
Yeah, it's a lot of you what, mate?
Yeah, on both sides. Fun.
You know, banished it. I cannot even do accents. This is why I hire outside people.
You know, banish the demon that clings to her soul.
Yeah, we'll take that. What?
I say we scratch her face up. I say we scratch her face up a bit. You know, in revenge.
I think that's supposed to be Scout speaking, actually.
I
say we scratch
it's Soldier.
I say we scratch her face up a bit. You know, in revenge.
And that's Spy next.
I could argue she made you look better. How unfortunate that Medic healed it. Turn it, you shape-shifting bastard.
As leader of this team,
Said
That
soldier.
is questionable.
Said Medic.
I hereby declare death by shovel.
Soldier's proclamation earned an explosion of more arguing. Everyone but Engineer trying to voice their opinion on what to do with the civilian. The Texan sighed, glancing over at the prisoner. She was starting to stir now, no doubt due to the noise, and her eyes slowly opened. Fellows, started Engineer, trying to call the room to attention. Y'all might want to keep it down. The yelling continued only to be interrupted by a familiar howl. What manner of barbarism is this? The crazy soup wolf lady struggled against the rope around her, attempting to break it off. Scout immediately took the lead, grabbing the woman by her dirty hair and lifting her head to expose her neck.
Barbarism sounds like a religion for people who worship those who cut hair and sing in quartets. Wow, that just completely whiffed. I'm sorry.
It didn't whiff, I just don't know what to say to it.
I laughed, but it wasn't. It was quiet enough that it wasn't picked up.
It's
No,
2
it
in the
was a
morning.
bad laugh. It was a terrible joke.
It is 2 in the morning.
Would you let a barbershop quartet run a train on you?
No.
I'm not answering that.
Because then you'd hear like them all orgasm simultaneously and melodically, like
Fucking Christ,
oh.
Oh.
I'm looking forward to doing a pre-recorded episode.
I feel like I am the Scout of this podcast.
Fuck am I?
I
A
don't know,
tired man.
Very
You're Demo, because
consistently.
you're constantly drinking. You're like Demo without
I'm not even drinking alcohol, it's Fanta.
You do drink a lot though. You're
I really don't.
Alright. Anyway, where were we?
Hell.
I just I like how Tanner just gave up. It's like, oh, okay.
All right, I don't know. That's an interesting thing. Who's scout? Who's demo? Who's
Third base.
yeah.
Tanner, this is just your equivalent of which cast member from Friends are you?
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Grabbing the woman by her dirty hair and lifting her head to expose her neck.
Remember me?
He laughed, setting her curved knife against her throat.
Yeah, you do.
What do you want, lunch meat? I give up. Marisu snarled, feeling Scout pull harder on her hair.
Your blood!
Bellowed Soldier, shoving Scout aside and raising his shovel. He was immediately hefted up by Heavy, the shovel swinging harmlessly in the air.
We must interrogate first.
Heavy logically announced, earning a round of nods and grumbling from the rest of the mercenaries.
Why did you attack us?
Spy asked calmly, blowing smoke in the air as he stepped behind the woman. Marisu snorted. For revenge! You attacked my wolves and I will not stand for it! The blonde revealed, attempting to send Spy a glare from over her shoulder.
Just as I thought.
Spy mused, puffing on his cigarette.
Now give us one good reason not to beat your ass.
Scout demanded, waving the knife over at the woman who attacked him. Marisu shot him a glare. You talk big for a weak little boy. Scout turned red, looking ready to lunge. Engineer settled a hand on the young man's shoulder. Ma'am, I'll be honest. I don't really like the idea of killing a woman. You're gonna have to give us some.
Enemy pyro's like, bitch, the fuck you do.
I don't really like the idea of killing a woman. You're gonna have to give us something to work with. Engineer tried. Truthfully, call him old-fashioned, but he wasn't too keen on letting the other mercenaries be delayed to death. And it wasn't because Engineer minded, really, because if it was Blue Spy, hell, he'd be right there. But now it just didn't seem all that pleasant to think about.
Alright, which one of us? We've had 3 different people voice demo here.
Right, I mean Tanner, it's you. Or Joey if he doesn't have to speak with, converse with, Sniper.
She ain't no woman.
What? Demo jumped in, goodness.
A witch, I tell ya. I've seen into her heart of darkness with me eye.
With enunciation, Demo pointed to his one eye.
I'm very surprised at all the literary references.
Spy commented, not expecting Demo Man to be one versed in literature.
Honestly, yeah, because, like, imagine going from Gaelic to English.
That's Welsh.
Alright. Anyway, soldiers up.
Wait, he is? Oh.
Who else he's saying his signature word.
I didn't scroll far enough. I was like, okay, I don't have to say anything.
Redram, please play the ignorant American so the other ignorant Americans don't put our feet in our mouths.
Maggots.
Soldier called, slamming his shovel to the floor to call attention.
Now's not the time to be sexist or a bunch of idiots. That's my job. She's not some dame to take to get burgers and pop. She is not Scout's mother. Like Blue, she has attacked our base and injured some of our men. There's only one solution for a dangerous civilian.
My ma again. I dare ya!
You cut out the first word to repeat that, please.
Mention my ma again. I dare ya!
Thank you. Kill me. I dare ya. I give up. Fudge.
Wait, Demo, are you going through something?
It's just I'm just cannot.
Actually, yes, mate. For several years, I'm I'm a black disabled man living in the 1950s. Of course I'm bloody going through something.
Kill me, I dare you, snapped Marisu, leaning forward in the chair. Do it in my wolves with the scent from the mountains, ripping the flesh from your pathetic bones.
Okay.
Cleared up Medic, pushing Scout back as he made another attempt with the knife.
I think I know how to deal with this. Bring me a chair, Betty.
Sniper, standing closest to the card table, grabbed one of the chairs and dragged it over. He set it in front of Marisu as Medic indicated, and stepped back with a raised eyebrow.
Just try throwing piss at her.
No, if you do that to women, you have to ask consent. Enemies are fine.
He mumbled, crossing his arms and earning an eye roll by. The rest of the team quieted down to see what Medic's plan was. Goodness gracious, Hold on. 3, 2, 1. Watching the doctor settle into the chair and face the woman head on.
What is your name?
Marisu, Queen of the Wolves, you peasant nurse.
I am not a nurse. What was your name before Mary Sue?
It was always Marisu, idiot.
What year is it?
Marisu looked ready to bite out another insult and then blinked. It's 201. In wolf years. Medic nodded, shooting a look at the rest of his team.
Right. And how old are you?
7. Medic stared at the definitely over 20 woman across from him.
Years?
Marisu scoffed, rolling her eyes. Obviously.
Have you always lived in there? In the mountains?
Of course. It's my land. The wolves' land.
I'm sorry, but if you are not human, what are you exactly?
Queen of the Wolves. Medic stared, then slowly nodded, standing up. He gestured for the rest of his team to follow him to the other side of the room, where they could speak in private. Well, Doc, started Engineer, hoping they wouldn't have to kill the lady. Medic sighed, taking his glasses off to rub the bridge of his... rub the bridge of her... I think that's a typo. Taking his glasses off to rub the bridge of his nose.
From my earlier physical when she arrived, she seemed human. And I have not seen anything, including black magic, to indicate otherwise. In my opinion, she may be mentally ill. Perhaps someone left her out here as a child.
With that, Medic shrugged.
I don't think she fully understands what's going on. Hello?
Broke in Scout, gesturing to his face.
She nearly clawed my face off, beat them all around, shot Pyro, and basically terrorized us. But she did it all because we attacked her wolves.
Heavy brought up. Fast. Pyro defended, earning a grunt of approval from Soldier.
Affirmative. They attacked us. We defended. If anything, she should be beating her mangy wolf children for being such disappointments.
Soldier, is there some projection you're making there?
What are you talking about? I don't project anything. The only projecting that's being done is the rockets out of my launcher into your face.
How about we have a vote?
Tried Sniper, shrugging.
Either we send her to Red Headquarters or kill her.
Or
Kill her.
there's another word after that.
Oh.
Kill her or let her go, filled in Engineer.
No bloody way!
Blurted out Demo.
And what if she comes back to steal our souls while we sleep? That's ridiculous.
Spy remarked, holding a lit cigarette between his fingers.
You're just saying that because you've got no soul to take!
Let's just vote. Engineer spoke up, holding his palms out. All in favor of sending her to Red, raise your hand. Spy, Sniper, and Heavy raised their hands. To kill her? This got a hand from Scout, Soldier, and Demo Man. Engineer nodded. And to let her go? Engineer raised his own hand, followed by a hesitant medic. The only one who didn't cast a vote was Pyro. Hands together as they looked around the group.
Come on, mates. Protocol to send her back to headquarters. Let him deal with her.
Sniper tried, rubbing the back of his head. Medic shook his head with a frown.
They will probably torture her, then kill her. Not even in the name of science!
Sniper gaped, then glanced at Spy for confirmation. The Frenchman nodded.
Sniper, pull your pants up. Please stop gaping in front of me.
Piss off, mate. Free country. I've seen what you do in your bunk. And it ain't pretty.
Sniper, everyone does that. If you want to talk about that problem, ask Scout. Oh, fuck off!
It's okay to snore, Scout.
It's protocol.
Sniper frowned, but regardless, did not change his vote. However, Heavy furrowed his eyebrows.
Torture? Heavy votes against the torture.
The large Russian asserted, crossing his arms across his broad chest.
Let little lady go.
That left the choices between letting her go and killing her. Left to Pyro, who still had not voiced their opinion on the matter. Pyro, we don't kill civilians. Engineer tried. Goggles meeting mask. It just ain't right.
Negatory.
Snap Soldier, stepping into Pyro's view.
She is dangerous. Shot you at point blank with no mercy.
Just being sexist or whatever. Just because she's a chick don't mean she's immune to death.
I'm just saying, we're not murderers. We're not murderers. Engineer paused, glancing around the group. Alright, we're not murderers anymore. We kill because we're being attacked. Save our own skins. Or because we get paid for it. Killing Blue is different. They come back. She won't. Pyro. The group glanced around to realize Pyro was gone and had returned to the prisoner. Pyro sat in the seat across from her, seemingly conversing. Mary's head was turned to the side, as if ignoring the pyromaniac. Standing behind Pyro, the team saw their teammate's mask was a bit lifted, revealing lips that only Marisu was privy to at the moment. The rest of the mercenaries waited, watching the woman slowly turn her head to look up. Holy hell! Watching the woman slowly turn her head to look at Pyro. Lips pursed as she listened to whatever it was that was being said. None of the mercs were close enough to hear. Then the conversation was over, and Pyro stood up, pulling the mask down. Marisu now stared at the ground. Pyro announced when they returned to the group, hands settling on their hips. The rest of the men just stared at them.
What did you say to lady?
Heavy ventured with a questioning look. Pyro shook his head. Pyro shook their head. Don't know. The mercenary assured. Scout huffed and Engineer smiled, patting the goodness. Patting the taller man, patting Pyro on the back. Thanks, Pyro. Let's go and tire then. I mean, let's go untie her then. All right, this is a conversation between Marisu and Medic. You will stay off my land.
Who's speaking?
Medic.
Promise.
I will never see any of you again.
Hopefully.
Marisu nodded, standing outside in the snow, facing the 9 mercenaries standing at their base door. Medic had reset her nose and bandaged it, while also training the medigun on the back of her head to help relieve the concussion she suffered and prevent long-term damage. Otherwise, the doctor left the rest of her wounds fresh. Perhaps as a reminder that the red team would not tolerate another attack. Scout had also returned her knife, albeit with resistance, and it was now tucked in its sheath against the small of her back, under her fur cloak that she had left in the infirmary upon arriving in the base. The sun had just about set, with fading rays along the horizon as the sky darkened. Was ready to leave. I will not apologize for attacking you, as you encroached on my land. This earned a few glares from some of the mercenaries, but I understand why you did it, and I am willing to put it in the past. But if I see any of you on my land again, I will slit your sleep. With that, the crazy super wolf lady turned and walked through the snow, heading into the forest. The group watched as a wolf waiting at the tree line joined her, and they recognized it as the alpha male that had first attacked them, brown fur along his brow standing stark against the snow. Scout shot the wolf of raspberry, making an L shape against his forehead with his hand.
Well,
Yawned Demo Man, sounding much more chipper since Marisu had stepped out of the red building, and no longer threatened them. Oh my gosh! No longer threatened them with her black magic powers.
At least she didn't say she would steal our souls. I didn't know anything about the rest of you, but I'm feeling a bit hungry.
With that, Demo turned and whistled his way back into base, as if they had not just spent an entire ceasefire day being attacked by a mad wolf.
I want pancakes.
Scout finally followed up, turning to stroll back as well.
You gonna make me some chuckle nuts?
Okay. The rest of the mercenaries started to file in, feeling a bit better about getting to have Pyro's pancakes for dinner. A rare treat.
Alright.
Sniper.
Sorry. I still say we should have dried her.
And that is the end of chapter 13. And
I imagine if that happened, she'd be like, "Oh, you know, you look quite fetching in that vest, and you know what I like."
Also, I'm surprised Sniper didn't toss it on her way while she was on her back.
Yeah.
That was so petty.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe they should have Gerardi'd her like that.
Sniper wouldn't be one to try to harm civilians. You know, he fancies himself a professional.
Sniping's a good job, mate.
So yeah, that was chapter 13. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Interesting little character study.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think it's a spin on a fairly common trope in TF2 fanfics. What if a civilian stumbled upon them? But this person seems to have a really solid understanding of the TF2 universe, which is that it is this, like, you know, everyone is drinking fentanyl-laced water, everyone's batshit crazy. For real though, there's lead in the water of the town Two Fort. And that's why most of the civilians in TF2s are crazy and morons. Miss Pauling has...
Really laughing at that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I really liked how well she fit into the TF2 universe. I really liked Scout being the most aggressive because yeah, scratching up Scout's face would be something that would offend him viscerally.
You take it personally.
Yeah,
I mean, he should.
yeah. Um, I do like. I mean, it's interesting. Sniper kind of has two characterizations. There's this very loud-mouthed, crusty man who lives in a van and sits alone all day sniping people, and then there's the consummate professional side of him. That's very be polite, that values politeness and efficiency. It's more like the game wrote him one way, and then his Meet the Short came out and characterized him another way, so they kind of had to bridge the gap. And it seems more like they've gone with this idea that the consummate professional is a facade, and he's way more rude and emotional than he lets on.
I'm sorry, I'm just still visualizing, like... I'm sorry, I'm just still visualizing, like, Marisu, like, leaving after music
Yeah.
sting.
It's
Turns
the
back
post-credit scene.
turn, like, back turned, walking off with the wolf, and, like, Scouter Sniper just lobs of jar piss at her head.
Yeah. Or for a more subtle joke, you just hear an unzipping. You just hear an unzipping as the screen goes black.
Sounds like a freaking glass of water being poured.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh gosh. So yeah, I enjoyed set the secret 10th short meet the Beast Hunter, Beast Tamer.
Uh-huh. I enjoyed Mary Sue. I think she was so fun. Some people might say, "Ooh, she is a Mary Sue," because how was she able to fight the team that thoroughly?
And then she gets to live.
Yeah, like how was she able to fight a bunch of trained mercenaries?
I mean, she lived in the friggin' woods, wolves.
Yeah,
Explanation. Like that's
They're
a
from
backstory.
guerrilla warfare.
yeah,
Basically, that's a backstory for one of the classes.
yeah. That
Like,
is
she
that
would
is. I
fit-
mean, Scout was the youngest of. I mean, all of them. Soldier was rejected from every branch of the military for being fucking crazy.
Like she, yes, you said it like last time. I think, yeah, she would fit in as one of the classes.
Yeah,
If no one had told me this was an OC, I would have just said I would just part of.
yeah. No, and again, she very much feels like one of the civilian characters that from the comics. Um, like I would not be surprised if did this come out after the this had to have come out because those comics were coming out. The 7-issue series came out in like almost 2016. This came out in 2013. God damn.
The original chapter was published 2013.
Yeah. I do think that sometimes it feels like the one problem I have with this is that it's very in character, but sometimes I think it's especially apparent in these later chapters. They think that the personality of the character is a joke rather than something as a platform to write jokes off of. Like, a lot of the humor in this is characters behaving idiosyncratically and not really joke writing. When I think there's a balance needed, you need something that feels right for the character but is also a clever joke.
I've seen all the Meet the Team shorts, so I at least have like a grasp on the characterization of the classes. With that said, I'm not versed enough in the lore to really support or counter that argument. So
Yeah. I will say I really like this characterization of Soldier. It's where I think he should have remained before the comics really flanderized his stupidity and craziness. To where he's clearly dumb and trigger happy and hyper patriotic, but but if you can't, but you can kind of count on him to get a job done. I think this is the good middle ground for how stupid he should be. I have to use the bathroom.
Do you have your jar ready?
If you had a jar, you wouldn't have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, but then we'd have to hear it.
I mean,
Ah.
Mike.
He would unmute his mic. We're not going to pretend that he would.
Harry, I'd like you to name one of your files or saved plays for Age of Empires at time.
Oh yeah, I do it for convenience sake.
Harry, nothing
Anyway.
nothing we do in or in regards to story time should have in it.
Anyway, I'm going to go.
Yeah, are we stopping her?
We still need to, everyone else needs to get their final thoughts. Joey, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I walked in to the cinema at the end of the movie, and it had a decent conclusion, but I have no idea why anything was even happening in the first place.
Fair enough.
Hmm.
Thank you for bearing with us, and we will try to start earlier next time.
Hmm.
I've heard that one.
I mean, we had to do like the other thing today, so.
I mean, that was like, I mean, we tried to account for that. It still started late.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm off.
Take care.
See ya.
Don't mind me, folks. I'm just gonna take a nice, long, audible.
What I have to ask is, what I want to see, like, a chapter where Miss Pauling tries to improve some of the Merc's social skills, because I can see her being like a para assistant to autistic kids. More specifically, I want to see, like, because there's 3 characters on that represent, like, you've got Heavy, who on the battlefield is this boisterous, sadistic, maniacally laughing bully who calls his opponents babies and shouts like, "Ah, try some more!" Someone who revels in combat, but off the battlefield is so quiet, so introverted, never talks to anyone, just sort of quietly keeps to Sasha. Pairing that with Sniper, who spends most of his time alone for his job and is definitely a weird dude, but can be polite enough if asked questions. And then Scout, who just never shuts the fuck up. I would like to see, like, Miss Pauling sending them out on a little play date to improve their social skills.
Oh, my throat. I mean, I would like to see, based off what I've seen from Expiration Date, yeah, see her get some focus, given that most of the chapters are in the base. It's kind of weird she never shows up.
Well, I mean, she's managing, both her and the administrator. The war is run by one company that is managing both teams without their knowledge. Well, I feel like half of them figured it out and just don't care.
They're getting paid.
Yeah, exactly. Like, she runs the red and blue team. Well, the administrator, who's the announcer in the video game, she's the chick who goes, "Mission begins in 10 seconds.
You failed.
Yeah, that's her. Miss Pauling's her assistant, and yeah, no. I really do imagine that, like, some of them have figured it out. Soldier probably hasn't figured it out. Soldier is probably not intellectually curious. It does not have the critical thinking skills to figure that out. Spy's definitely figured it out. Because it's just a little suspicious that every time they fight, both bases are directly across from each other. and also the control points can be captured just by standing on them, despite being spyware. And also, both teams have briefcases that can be accessed that are just left out on a table.
One more.
They both have bomb carts that they can push into each other's bases. You know, there's so many things that would just be so highly suspicious that anyone with basic critical thinking skills, like, I think Heavy's probably figured it out too. NG's probably figured it out. Demo, if he's sober enough, has probably figured it out. Soldier, Pyro, no, I mean Pyro, Medic. No, Pyro hasn't figured it out, because Pyro doesn't know where he is half the time. But no, definitely basically everyone except for Pyro and Soldier has probably figured it out. There's a high risk, considering Pyro is schizophrenic and sees the world, or at least combat, as this candy-colored wonderland. He just basically lives in Equestria. There's a high chance that he could accidentally set one of his own teammates on fire. Because he's trying to make them laugh and giggle.
He's trying to have fun.
Yeah. Though some people theorize that Pyro is more aware of what's going on. I do like this take that Pyro develops the rainbows, the Pyroland world. That is his subconscious trying to create a coping mechanism, because he kills people in easily the most horrifying way out of the entire team, and that's how he copes with it.
I'm sure there's a fanfic that has explored the psychology of that. Hold on, let me get my mic so I can.
No,
Hi, folks. This is HG Scrappy Fan 92 of HG Storytime with Scrappy and Friends.
Yo.
Anyway, I'm talking. I sound like such a fucking dork about this shit.
And you probably have the most to say about it than all of us combined.
Yeah.
It's fine, Tanner. Just I understand your. I presume it comes from a place of. Oh, I don't know where it comes from specifically, but you don't have to compare everything.
Comes from my fallopian tubes.
You don't have to make a. You don't have to.
I don't have to be self-conscious.
Well, yes. I mean, no, you do not have to be self-conscious. Yeah, never mind. I'll say it when we're off mic, not streaming.
Right. Yeah, I don't really have much to add, honestly.
Yeah, this was a very fun chapter.
Yeah.
Right. I had to get up briefly to check on something. Did you give your thoughts?
No, I haven't. I hardly ever do, to be honest.
I mostly leave the Team Fortress stuff to Tanner. I don't really have much to add, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as my thoughts go, it's more like for as much as I like the Meet the Team shorts, I don't engage in TF2 lore, so to me this is just another chapter of fan fiction of another series that I'm vaguely interested in.
Yeah.
But I mean, for what it's worth, it's a pretty good chapter. Probably my favorite one in this series.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah, I don't even think we're not even at the halfway point yet.
Oh, wow.
Oh, interestingly enough, the next chapter is called novelization of the pilot short.
Oh, right. It's this one you might have to explain to the audience. I read ahead. It is mostly that Saw thought that the other mercs didn't get enough screen time, so it's focusing on what they were doing. What they were doing during the short.
Oh, I'm fine with that.
So we're getting little side conversations. We're getting them playing poker, talking about what they're gonna do before they die.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
It'll probably make no sense unless you've seen that short, but I imagine if you're watching a TF2 video, then you have.
Well, I'll provide a link I'll provide a link in like the comment when this video gets put up.
Yeah.
Like, hey, watch this short before you watch the next story time episode concerning this story.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, I guess that. I mean, I guess if everyone said their thoughts, I guess we just talk about what we will probably do next.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, it might just be chapter 14. Might just be the next episode, but okay.
I will be rebuilding the Twin Towers solely for the sake of blowing them up at a different angle.
Oh my
That
god.
is not how you end an episode,
Oh my
but
god.
you do you.
Tara has made it his mission to try and make sure Harry gets like make sure this channel gets retroactively demonetized.
You're gonna get us banned from Twitch. That's what you're gonna do.
I don't know. You can make quite a few 9/11 jokes. That's like safe edgy.
Anyway,
Oh,
need to-
excuse me.
thank you, Harrison. So, yeah, so likely next episode will likely be chapter 14. Tanner will be muzzled and bound and gagged.
Hmm.
Hey ho.
You can just ask me to play Pyro.
No
And-
dinner first.
Let's see. Chapter 14 will probably be what we read next, and if not that, then maybe if we get other things sorted out, then we might actually get Great Disney Games done before our year 5 anniversary episode. Yes, year 5. It's coming up in less than a month.
Oh boy.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I have to
Damn.
put together a list of all the stuff we read in year.
I
and we
mean,
can just
I'll
talk about
mostly be talking about Ceasefire days because that's mostly what I've been involved with.
Yeah.
Which,
You did something else as well. There were other things I have to review it though. So yeah, I think it is actually kind of imperative we get the Great Disney Games done or launched before then,
Yeah.
mhm.
which means that we have some recording to do because
Oh boy.
as I've been informed by my cast members, the current format that I was planning to do may not work for a live setting. So
Yeah, it's super awkward. Unless you just want me doing tap dancing in the middle of it, I can do audible. Tap
What the
dancing.
hell?
You won't be able to see it, but you'll hear.
Oh, dude. I feel like that
I
would make
can
it
tap
more
dance, I'm
awkward.
It'll make it hilarious.
So we are going to the story will come, but it will probably not be a traditional story time format. Whether it'll be
No.
like part of the main numbered episodes or part of a little sub series like
No,
Story Time Presents.
We want a sense of professionalism from your work because we like what you write.
Hmm.
You know what? You agreed to read this anyways, despite your misgivings towards multiverse fiction. So you know what? I'm gonna take that as a sincere comment.
No, I'm sure. I mean, I did like the Super Mario Brothers fic. Alright.
I like the Super Mario Brothers fic too. I should update.
Mm-hmm.
I might do another little. I mean, I've already done 2 of those in a row, but I should just write another chapter. Like, I'd like to revisit that cast again. They're fun.
Yeah.
I have like 7 things I need to be writing. I'm not happy about this.
Have you? There's a TikToker I think you'd like called Have a Rotten Day on TikTok. He's this Wario cosplayer who does skits with this Waluigi cosplayer. I sent you one.
I think you did send me a video. Also, Harry, I think you got you may or may not have hammer.
Yeah, okay, I see that. Let me. Dead. I killed them.
No mercy.
So yeah, we're gonna. The Great Disney Vanity Project will come, but not as you expected it. It's gonna be more work for us, but I think it will lead to a better product for the viewer.
Yeah, it's like the one series that's actually made professionally.
Quote unquote, professionally.
In quotes, yeah.
Also, we actually do have a promo we need to put up.
Oh, for God's sake.
Harry, did you put the promo up?
No. I've been like very busy worrying about other stuff lately. Ugh.
Imagine having a life outside of this.
Ugh.
So yeah, Ceasefire Days, Disney thing, and I have other stuff I need to write. There's other stuff we could read as well. So we'll see. We will see, folks. Year 5. That anniversary looms.
Dun dun dun.
And we get to have the horrifying realization that we've been doing this for a decade.
Yeah. Oh my God, really? Wait, what?
Yes.
Wait, how long have we been doing this?
5 years by April.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. I thought you said a decade.
I said half a
It is
decade.
crazy
The
because
half
I
cut
can
out.
see- I can see my evolution as a person throughout these episodes. Like I was trying way too hard to be edgy earlier, and now I'm. Oh, hold on a minute.
You know, when I started Storytime, I was a asshole who started over his words, and now I'm older.
He's an older asshole.
Yeah. Oh.
No,
Yeah, it's like, you know, when someone gets money, when an asshole gets money, they're just an asshole.
Yeah, no. Oh.
So, I mean, there has been we've all had our own character arcs through story time. It's interesting. So, yeah, we'll cover the stuff of year 5 and just maybe do a general, I guess, story time and Scrappy English
That reminds me,
story
Scott,
time review. Goodness gracious!
I wanted to do a podcast with you because I've been rewatching bits and pieces of this show, while
High, I know.
Yeah, no. I don't get high anymore. I just pace around the house and constantly think all my friends hate me, and have flash forwards to when I'm not high. No, but I've been watching this show just while scrolling YouTube, and because it has certain writing quirks that fascinate me, even though it's a children's show, I know it's one that you've watched. I would love to do a Teen Titans Go podcast.
Huh.
I will, if I can get a TV working or my PlayStation 4 working because it's busted, and I can access Hulu again, then I will try to do the episodes. It has been a while.
I've noticed there's like very weird writing quirks, especially for a kids show. I've noticed they whenever they need leftist talking points, they use Beast Boy.
Now I'm okay. Now you have my curiosity just because I want to. That's
And every time they need a right wing straw man, they use Robin.
sounds about right, actually.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Great. Now you're gonna make me have to rewatch the early Teen Titans Go episodes. Thanks.
There's this episode called The Gold Standard, where Beast Boy becomes a leprechaun who wants to who hates Nixon because he wants to get the world back on the gold standard because he thinks it'll restabilize the economy and make it so that the rich don't exploit us with inconsistent margins. There's also that episode where Beast Boy argues that money is like the most, where Robin represents this is used to be really greedy and says money is for hoarding and never spending, and then Beast Boy. I've also noticed they do this. The best episodes are the ones where the writers get just focus in on a particular topic that they're interested in, and then try to write the plot around that. Like, it really is autism, the show. There's what was the episode I was thinking about? Like, there's
What?
one just about the history of De La Soul. Uh, there's also, I've noticed that they tend to make, if they need a skeptic character or someone to be like, actually, or be grumpy, they use Cyborg.
All right, I'll say one thing before we derail this, the episode 0 of that podcast. I know Cyborg, when he's not just being Beast Boy's like dude bro friend, he's usually like the one who's like got some semblance of pop culture knowledge. Like,
yeah, they use him as like being obsessed with the 80s. But I've noticed they also, because there's this episode about fonts. There's this episode about Robin trying to give a PowerPoint presentation, but Cyborg is being a font snob who can't let Robin finish because he's upset with all the fonts he chooses. And then Robin accidentally chooses Wingdings, which is the worst font in the world, and apparently will turn the rest of the world into Wingdings. And throughout the entire episode, Cyborg is complaining about it until he learns to embrace Wingdings and learns that all fonts are special. It is bizarre. But you can tell that one is based off of a very real experience that someone had giving a PowerPoint presentation. They also have that episode about, again, Cyborg is their actually guy. Robin may be like the annoying stick in the mud, but whenever they need someone to be like actually, it's usually Cyborg. There's this other episode where Raven is giving everyone their zodiac signs, and Cyborg's like, you know that stuff's made up, right?
a world with literal magic, and he's complaining about zodiac sign. So anyway, yeah, this has been our Teen Titans Go podcast prototype. We hope.
Yeah, no, it's fucking bizarre. They really do take it into. That's the thing, is this show has such weird writing quirks.
Well, I'll look into it. That's
Alright.
all I can say at the moment.
All right.
Okay, so I think we've set our potential future plans, and I think we said our piece about the story itself.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, we thankfully got this done in under 90 minutes, so I think we can call it a night.
All right, I'll see ya.
Bye, everyone, I guess.
Bye.
Take care, everyone. Happy spring.
Bye.
Stay safe out there.
Haru desu ya.